The Broncos demolished the Falcons 38-6, and today can be summarized in 3 bullet points. Broncos win, the Chiefs lost, and Bo Nix looks like the NFL Rookie of the Year frontrunner. The only thing that could be better than this is if it happened 2 weeks in a row, but unfortunately, not to be. But you know what? That's fine. We'll take this one right here. This was a drumming from start to finish. The Broncos scored first, they scored last, and they scored a lot in between. But the biggest highlight from this blowout is Bo Nix having the best game of his NFL career, playing a bad Falcons defense, but you know what? You can only play the team in front of you, but if you're going to play a bad defense, make them look bad. And Bo Nix, 28 for 33, 307 yards and 4 touchdowns, and you felt like something like this could be brewing from literally his first pass. Remember, it was a 3rd and long. He found Courtland Sutton for a 16-yard gain over the middle, and you go, Bo might be on a heater today. And that was just the first of many good throws, including 4 touchdown passes, which how often do you see a rookie quarterback throw 4 touchdown passes at any point in their season? And the defense is awesome yet again. I mean, going into this matchup, it was a little bit similar, just a little, to the matchup 2 weeks ago, right? Great Denver defense against an awesome Ravens offense. And we know which side of the ball won that matchup. This time, Denver's defense prevailed, stuffing the Falcons offense. Javonte Williams, I don't know what he did in practice this week, but he got back in Sean Payton's good graces. He was the leading rusher for this team, 9 carries, 59 yards. He would score the only touchdown that was not caught from a pass via Bo Nix. 1 touchdown on the ground, 4 grabs, 28 yards. Everyone was getting involved receiving-wise, but this was a thorough butt-kicking on offense, defense, and special teams. And I said going into this matchup, both of these teams are coming off heartbreaking defeats the week prior, all from special teams. The Falcons kicker Younghoe Koo went 1 for 4 in field goals, and they lost by 3. I don't need to repeat what happened in the Broncos-Chiefs game. So we were going to learn which one of these locker rooms was going to respond from that heartbreaking loss. And we learned very quickly in this game, it was Sean Payton's crew. Kudos to Payton for making sure his troops did not dwell on last week's loss. They picked up right where they felt like they had left off, which is driving down the field to win the game in Arrowhead. The offense was magnificent. 400 yards of total offense, 100 yards on the ground, 295 in the air. Perfect football when it comes to protecting the ball. I guess 1 fumble, but that was kind of a lucky fumble by Lil Jordan Humphrey. But how about this receiving corps? It's not filled with star-studded names. No one's talking about having Devon Bailey on their fantasy team, but he's making big plays out there. Lil Jordan Humphrey, turning upfield and finding the end zone. Troy Franklin, everyone's got a role, and sure, no one is commanding a huge amount of targets. There's no diva on this team. It's a team, and this team is fun to watch because they play good, sound football. There's no I. There's no one individual that wants to get the lion's share of targets or carries. They're all happy to do whatever they need to do to contribute to a win. And this team is just getting better and better by the week. So sitting at 6-5, and they haven't even had their bye week yet, how can you not be over the mountain, over the moon about the trajectory this team is on right now? At the moment, they hold the 7 seed in the AFC playoff picture. Forget 7 seed. They're looking for 6 or 5. They might not catch the Chiefs, who did pick up their first loss in Buffalo this year of the season tonight. But they're going to make a real run for a lot of wild card team spots at the 5 and 6 seed in the playoff picture. A long ways to go, but this type of performance really makes you feel like, yeah, this is a squad that can go the distance when it comes to being more than just someone who squeaks in the playoffs at 9 and 8, is a 7 seed, and lays down to the 2 seed and loses by 30 points. No, that's a team that just took a 6-5 squad, start to finish to the woodshed. So if they can beat up what I think is a good Falcons team this much, there's no reason why they can't go on the road in the first round of the playoffs and knock off some division winner. Whether it's out of the AFC South with the Texans, or the AFC North with the Steelers or Ravens, this is not a team any team should want to play in the playoffs. Now, Devon Vele, 4 grabs, 66 yards. Where did he come from? I mean, he's like a middle-aged man, day 3 draft pick out of Utah, and he's developing to be the number 2 receiver on this team as a rookie. I know that maybe he's not as young as everyone hopes a rookie to be, but who cares right now? He's Bo Nix's safety blanket. After Courtland Sutton, where do you think he's looking on 3rd down? This is basically his tight end. And speaking of Sutton, he continues to age like a fine wine. I mean, he's not too old, but 7 grabs, 78 yards. He's stacking good week after good week after good week. Ever since he did not get a single target in that Saints game, I don't think it was like an attitude issue or anything like that. I just felt like he looked at that as an opportunity to go, all right, you know what? If I'm not going to get a target, then I got to get open more. And he's gotten open plenty. Lil Jordan Humphrey, 4 grabs, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have a convenient fumble. It was on 4th down. If it was incomplete, it would have been turnover on downs. Instead, it's ruled a catch, fumble, recovered by himself, keeps the drive alive. They score a touchdown. Falcons fans were probably upset in the moment. In the moment, I did think it was incomplete, but later on, Mike Pereira revisited and showed he got 3 feet in bounds, so it was a catch fumble, but it didn't really matter ultimately. This was going to be a butt kicking no matter how you sliced or diced it. And also, one other name I want to give some love to, Marvin Mims. I know we have big aspirations in goal for the former 2nd-round pick, and he kind of goes in and out of our view, but today he was all over the field. On offense, on special teams, making big plays every single time he got the ball in his hands. 2 grabs, 49 yards, and 1 touchdown. And I'll just say this before we talk about the defense. The Broncos coaching staff, before this game, and all week of preparation, went to their players, in my estimation, and goes, guys, this is not a good defense. And what I mean by that is, if we just get you the ball in open space, they're not fast enough to keep up with you, and they're not going to tackle you, and they're not going to get off blocks. And twice on 3rd and long, the Broncos are like, we don't need to throw to the sticks. We can throw short at the line of scrimmage because we believe our guys in a 2-on-2 scenario are going to block, and our fastest player with the ball in his hands is not going to be tackled. And Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims both proved the coaching staff correct on those 2 play calls. Now, we're going to talk about the defense next in just a second here, but I do want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsor today, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. So here are my selections for this evening's game. I'm taking the more on these bad boys right here, taking the less on J.K. Dobbins. So if you like my selections and you want to play while watching, then download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Now, let's give a big round of applause to Vance Joseph and this defense because they played a good Falcons offense entering this week. I mean, just from like a fantasy football standpoint, what do you think has more players on people's teams right now? The Broncos offense or the Falcons offense? And despite being outmatched when it comes to like receivers and running backs from a notoriety standpoint, they completely stuffed this Atlanta offense. I mean, they put Kirk Cousins in a bag. They turned to Michael Penix early in the 4th quarter when it was a blowout. But still, give kudos to this defense, rallying around the football, wrapping up, making open field tackles, limiting yards after the catch, yards after contact. I mean, Nick Bonito, by the way, he is looking like he's going to be a 10-sack player for years to come because he is so fast off the edge. He basically had 2 sacks on back-to-back plays. First one, he didn't quite get there in time, but he still forced a pressure. Second one, he did get to Kirk Cousins in time and brought him down for the sack. Bonito's been awesome coming off the edge. The secondary barely gave any way to this Falcons passing game. 18 for 27, 173 yards. Cody Barton coming up with a nice interception. I mean, it was thrown directly at him. But he still made the play for a big fella who doesn't have the greatest hands like most linebackers. Barton comes up with a great INT. So across the board, Vance Joseph's defense is playing lights out football. The only question would be, could the offense catch up? And if the offense caught up, well, then do the math, guys. You've got a top 5 defense and a offense that's getting better and better by the week. They're getting hot at just the right time. Fast forward to week 15, 16, and 17. They got tough games on the road with Cincinnati, Chargers, Chiefs. But they were playing their best football at that point because this defense has been rock solid all year long, and the offense is taking dramatic step forwards every single week. It's hard not to feel like the Broncos are on top of the world right now with, sure, just a 6-5 record. And I'm probably drinking too much of the Kool-Aid, but I mean, got to give credit where credit is due. This team has played some really good football. You take out the one just off week in Baltimore and look at the last couple of matchups. They're either wins or they are as close to losses as possible. So we'll see where it goes from here. The next week, the Broncos, where do they go next week? I should know this. Broncos next week have the Raiders on the road. Oh, Raiders suck. They got the Raiders, then they got the Browns on Monday Night Football, then their bye. So 2 more weeks until the bye, and then they round out the year with Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs in Denver. So that's going to do it for us on our post-game show today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you joined our watch party today, appreciate everyone's support and understanding of the uniqueness to it. But make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're looking for a go-to Broncos YouTube channel, and we'll keep you guys informed, entertained, all season long. And then one other thing I wanted to add here, a little cherry on top, I don't think anyone suffered any major injury or anything of note like that. So not only a big win, but it's not one of those, they win, but at a cost, at a price. No, they just won, and they won with all 53 players starting and ending the game.